I love that.
Hello.
That
Good
was so.
morning.
Good morning. We're
Wait,
back.
that not here. There's
No,
no good mornings here.
no. Good evening.
It's time for a party. I am Pixel. Welcome to Pixel Lore, to the Pixel Book Club. Whole lot of pixels everywhere. I am joined by Landry of the Quinn Walkers
Hello.
as we embark on an exciting journey as we are rereading The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien.
I thought it was Jur Tolkien.
J.R.R. Tolkien, I've
Jur
I've
Tolkien.
heard it both ways. Yeah, no. For all of our riveted fans who are keeping up with us, they know that we're also reviewing a Game of Thrones at the same time, but we're going splitsies. One
Not
week that,
confusing at all.
1 week this. Um,
It's Jur versus Gur.
Jur versus Gur. That's a good one.
Here we are,
Okay.
man.
I mean, the best way to go ahead is to just go ahead, get started. It's been what, 2, 3 weeks since we finished The Hobbit.
I think it's just two.
Two.
I think we finished 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
Yep. And now we are back in Middle Earth, and we're going to go. Let's just go ahead and start talking about A Long Expected Party. After the prologue, where Tolkien takes the time to explain to us about hobbits and a little bit about their culture and everything, things that we didn't really have in The Hobbit because he wasn't thinking about it as much then. Different. There is a difference in attention to detail, which I know sounds silly from the man who wrote, "In the hole in the ground there was a hobbit, not a nasty, dirty, grimy hole with bugs and worms and things, but rather a nice hole." It goes on, so many details, but this loses that easy wonder that came with The Hobbit right from the start. Because this is still excellent to step back. Mr. Bilbo Baggins, his 11th birthday. And you have a whole, like, 3-4 pages of other hobbits talking about our hobbit, Mr. Bilbo Baggins, and about his situation with
It's
Frodo.
It's an interesting transition from the end of The Hobbit, where he returns to find all his stuff being sold, and we hear about the Sackville Baggins. There is a natural transition here that it is so Hobbit centric. It is so he is still dealing with the impact of that adventure. And while tonally, you're absolutely right. Tonally, it is so different. But in terms of the content, we are still in the Shire where we left him. We're still dealing with the impact of how much he's changed from this, and how his world that he lives in now is so small. So I do feel a connective tissue, although tonally you're absolutely right. This is a completely different book.
Yeah. Once we actually go ahead and get to see Mr. Baggins and he talks to Gandalf about, oh yes, my plans, but let's not discuss that too much. Come on in. And we get to the birthday party, and I always forget that Frodo and Bilbo share a birthday.
Oh no, that's great.
I always forget that. I don't know why. Because, well, I'll get to that bit later. When we go ahead, we have their birthday, and he gives a big old speech after the dinner, and people are expecting him to go on and on and on, but in truth, it's rather short and sweet. They go ahead and they start trying to play music, and he goes ahead and just, wait, I don't have a horn, but I have this, and stops him, because he's going to finish saying his piece, because he's saying, oh well, I don't like I don't know half of you as much as I'd like, and I don't like half as much as you.
They tried to play him off. They tried to play him off the stage. It's so folksy and you know, the prose, it can read a little dry in some ways, but when you really get into what's going on, there's so much energy to this scene.
Yeah, yeah. When he, maybe I'm being foolish. It bothers me a little bit with how, at least in my copy, the text is, what is it? It's italicized, so it's all leaning, rather than being in actual speech bubbles. You know what I mean?
Which part are you talking about? Like in
The
general, the speech?
speech. The speech.
All the speech is italicized in yours?
Yes.
All of it?
Can you see that at all?
Oh.
Is that just mine?
Oh, well, yes, no, you're right. All of his speech, because it's for emphasis. It's done as like a comic book. And I was noticing that this time because I don't know how often I see this in novels, but in comics it's very common. All the emphasized speech is italicized, but this is all supposed to be emphasized for because he's speaking at a volume. And so, but you look at the rest of it, you'll see
It's
one or
switched back. Yeah.
right. Well, a couple words here and there will still be italicized for emphasis.
Yeah. Yeah,
Here
but
and there.
to have the whole speech that way, just it's something in the back of my mind and saying, where
I actually like that. I
quotations?
got the implication loud, but it's a comic book background for me. Like this is what you do in a comic book.
Yeah.
Also switching to all caps and everything for
Yeah,
announcement.
that's fine. But the
But if
fact
he
that
did
it's
that the whole
not in
time,
quotation marks at all is what's sticking in my mind.
it's an interesting choice.
After that, he disappears, and we get the scene that he has with Gandalf, because Gandalf's this way. Oh, right as he's about to actually take the ring with him. And it's so interesting to think about this scene compared to the other ways that it's always interpreted. Because when you have Gandalf in this moment, they have that imposing moment where he's like, "Watch, you better watch yourself, Bilbo." It's here, but it's almost always exaggerated everywhere else. At least it feels that way to me.
Yeah, I would say it's so much. You know, we do get his eyes flash, and he says, "If you say it again, I shall." Then you'll see Gandalf the Grey uncloaked. He took a step towards the Hobbit, and he seemed to grow tall and menacing. His shadow filled the little room, and so it's in there. But the thing is, it took so much longer to get there. There's a lot of stuff cut from, say, the film of the
Yeah,
exchange between them, and so
any of
it.
the films though.
What's that?
Any of the
Well,
films.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. Any adaptation cut a lot of this progression. It's a build of Bilbo feeling more cornered and Gandalf just going, hey, man, hey, come on, we're cool. And Bilbo's like, I don't know if we're cool. Maybe we're not cool. Until Gandalf's like, you know what? Maybe we're not cool then, dude. And Bilbo's like, I'm sorry. Wow. Okay, my bad. It's I liked that in the film because I always took note of that like moment where Gandalf hinting that there's more to him than even Bilbo sees. And it was an intervention. He's staging an intervention, right? This is hardcore.
You need to give up the ring, man.
You gotta let it go. It's not good for you. So
and then we get our first song. The road goes ever on and on.
well, there's an important bit. There's one thing I want to comment on before we get to the song. He says, where is it? You would better take it and deliver it for me. That will be safest. And Gandalf's like, no.
Don't give it to me.
Don't give it to me.
Don't give the ring to me.
Grabs the envelope and he puts it up. But the act of this is important with the ring. There's a difference between Gandalf, say, taking it to put it in the fire to show Frodo something versus being given the ring. Possession of being, I am giving it to you, is a thing with the ring. of ownership, and ownership being a power thing. So holding it, Gandalf might do for a second, but being given it and taking it, accepting ownership of it or possession of it, is bad. And we
Yeah.
see that already right there. So now the song. Now the song. Road goes ever on.
The road goes ever on and on down the door. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Every time it plays through my head every day. But then Frodo finally comes in. Oh, he's really gone, isn't he? I was kind of hoping he would stick around, or maybe that I would go with him. But yeah, no. Gandalf quickly explains. Yeah, no. He's left it all to you there. The ring, he's left it to me. I wonder why. Still, it may be useful. It may or may not. I would not use it. He does not want Frodo to use the ring. Which, later on, when we get to the effect that the ring will have on Frodo, it's funny how long it stayed with Bilbo and the effects weren't as pronounced, but I mean Frodo does have evil actually on his tail here. So
he's in a much more stressful situation, but also it's worth considering. Frodo did, unlike the movie, Frodo didn't just leave it in an envelope. He's got it in his pocket, like the very next day. Is mention of it when the Sackville Baggins are there. He's already he's fumbling around within his pocket, and it's also worth noting he's known about the ring for years. Bilbo told him the true story, so it's not like he went all Smeagol and killed Bilbo for it, but he's known of it, and now it's his, and so he's not coming to it new. It's like he's had secondhand smoke for years.
That's fair.
You know, so I find that, like, and of course it is the other thing worth mentioning, and we'll get to this here, but it's 17 years before he leaves the Shire. He has 17 years of him with the ring, and he uses it sometimes. He does use it, I think.
No, not at all.
Do they explicitly say that he never uses it?
Explicitly says, because Gandalf told him, you haven't, I told you not to use it, and yeah, no, haven't used it. He knows what it does. He knows all that, but he still has not used it. In his time after this, he walks around the Shire. He's very active around the community, just popping up and exploring. And as he's getting older, he's getting that tookish nature to go and want to explore. But he doesn't use the ring.
I don't remember them explicitly saying that.
I mean, if I could pull the lines off, I would tell you.
No, I believe you. I mean, so anyway,
because Gandalf advises him not to. He comes back and he says the same thing. That ring of yours I've been curious about, and you have taken my advice and not used it. And Bilbo says, yeah, no.
Of course, it doesn't. Frodo. While it does matter, it only matters to a point, because it's worth noting here that Frodo does repeatedly refer to it as my ring. When Gandalf comes back and he talks to him, he says, oh, you had things to tell me about my ring. He's taken possession of it. He's taken ownership of it. And it's mentioned.
Talk about it now. What? I love that Frodo, after that birthday, even though Bilbo has gone away, he still refers to it as their birthday.
Oh, yeah. That's wonderful.
That's so sweet. Yes.
Well, there's a whole thing going into that at the end of that chapter, winding back a little, about Frodo winding down, like the aftermath, like setting things in order, very, very proper, getting everything done, and dealing with the consequences of Bilbo's dramatic leave, and then slowly phasing into the years that follow. It's a nice way to edge us into a transition, a complicated transition that I'm sure Tolkien wrestled with, because originally when he conceived of this, it was a Bilbo story. And so when he decided it was a younger, new character, he had to transition us, the reader, from our comfort, familiar character into the next generation. And it's very well done. He took a little time to establish Frodo as his own personality.
Absolutely. I also like how when we go into the Shadow of the Past, after talking about, well, this has happened in the years since, and this the words that they're hearing, then Frodo likes being the Mr. Baggins, but they then include a scene where Sam is in the Green Dragon, just with Ted, that's his name, with another hobbit, and they're talking, and he's talking, well, I've been hearing all these kind of things, and Ted's like, sure, buddy. Sure. Walking trees? Never. But then after that, we get to Sam. He goes home. And the next morning, he's walking to go ahead and go work in the garden while Gandalf and Frodo are having this very important conversation. That I feel like it's another one of those things. We just talked about Bilbo and Gandalf's conversation. This one is like twice as long as any of the scenes try to make it, you know? Because we go ahead and he talks about, well, the nature of the One Ring, and let me show you in the fire. And then I have learned the history in between where the ring fell into the water and thus was found by and it's so engaging.
Oh God, this has always been. This is what captured me. The very first time I read this book was this history, this moment where he's like, so "Let me tell you about this ring, dude. I got a lot to tell you about this ring." I think there's an interesting thing here that always bugs me with every adaptation is it's very plain. Isildur did not defeat Sauron. Like, that is not him. He did not do it. Elendil and Gil-galad defeated Sauron. They died in the process, and Isildur walks up and cuts the ring from the fallen Sauron's finger as a prize. He didn't cut it off in a die, and I get that's really boring to do in film. We're like, I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to loot this body because it belongs to me now.
No.
So real different bit right there. And I'm really hoping that, someday we'll see that play out in Rings of Power. I'd like to see the proper version of that on screen at some point.
It is going to be, just to segue slightly, because we do get where Gandalf explains where he learned about Smeagol and how Smeagol became Gollum. With Hunt for Gollum coming, I'm like cautiously optimistic. Cautiously. Especially because you have this part, and you have to have that bit where he gets that, where he goes. But actually, does that happen? Because I can't remember. It's been too long since I've seen Fellowship of the Ring.
Which part? What are you talking about? Well, I don't know how they're going to play it.
He questioned Gollum himself.
Yeah, well, that's going to be interesting how they play that in the film if it's tying into the Jackson films, which I assume it will, because they really make it seem like Gandalf is only gone for like a week, and it's not supposed to have been 17 years or whatever. It's a hard thing to transition. Bakshi's tried and did we know how that worked out. That's not a great transition either. Where are we at? Where are we at talking about here?
Sorry. We had just gotten to we were talking about the conversation with Frodo and Gandalf past where
I found a problem. I found a problem with this scene. Tolkien, I got to edit him. I got to fact check. I got to fix his story here for him.
Where?
He talks about, he knew from the start, as soon as he heard about the ring, he knew it had to be a great ring. He says this in this book. He says, well, I knew it had to be a great ring. That was clear. From the very beginning, it was clear that it was a great ring. But then later he says, Well, I mean, the three elven ring couldn't be one of the three elven rings. I knew that. Because he knows where those are. He knew it couldn't be one of the dwarf rings. They're all. So he knows Sauron has three of them, and he knows the other three other four were destroyed, and he knows that the 9 are in possession of the 9, which only leaves a 1. So how did he not know it was a 1 ring? If he knew it was a great ring, which there are only 20 of, and he says he knew from the start it was a great ring, but then a couple pages later
But
says,
he was
well,
no. A couple pages later, he's talking about what Sauron knew.
wait,
I'm
where
pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, because he says that how Sauron figured out his 1 ring is still around because
what?
he thought that it was destroyed by the elves.
Let's see. The enemy still lacks one thing: grim strength and knowledge to beat down all resistance, break lost defenses, cover all lands in second darkness. He lacks the 1 ring. He says 3, the fairest of all, the elf lords hid from him, and his hand never touched or sullied them. 7, the dwarf kings possessed, but 3 he has recovered. And the others the dragons have consumed. 9 he gave to mortal men, proud and great, and so ensnared them. Long ago they fell under the dominion of the 1, and they became the ring wraiths, shadows of the under his great shadow, his most terrible servants, long ago. But this is stuff Gandalf knows too. Gandalf knows this stuff. He knows where 19 of the rings are, or what happened to them. The only thing that was a mystery was the 1 ring. So how did he, if he knew it was a great ring, how did he not know it was the 1 ring?
It's a long story, Blackbeard. But last night, I told you Sauron the Great, Dark Lord. I wish it hadn't happened in my time, yes. Lacks the 1 thing, he lacks the 1 ring. 3, the fairest of all, hid from him. And his hand never touched. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
The 9 he has gathered himself. 7 also. Or else they are destroyed. He only needs the 1.
But 2 pages earlier.
Okay.
2
Which
pages
page
earlier,
exactly? Give me the number.
well, on our pages are different. So he says, when did I first begin to guess? He mused, searching back in memory. Let me see. It was in the year that the White Council drove the dark power from Mirkwood, just before the Battle of 5 Armies, that Bilbo found his ring.
A
A
shadow
shadow
fell
fell on my heart then, though I did not know yet what I feared. I wondered often how Gollum came by a great ring, as plainly it was. That at least was clear from the first. Then I heard Bilbo's strange story of how he had won it, and I could not believe it. He knew it was a great ring from day 1. But he knows where 19 of the great rings happened. There's only 1 that's a question mark.
But didn't he says that he solidified this information with his travels the past 9 years.
I mean, that could be. That could be that he slowly pieced it together, though he still doesn't know until he puts it to fire. Does not know for sure. Except, how could he not know for sure if he knows it's a great ring?
Well, Frodo says the same thing to him in this very chapter. He says, how much of this is you're guessing? How much do you know? He's like, well, I know. That's why I tossed it in the fire to make sure.
So it's an interesting thing.
It's just how wizards work.
I mean, it is possible Tolkien is a human being wrote this. We are all creatures of flesh. It could be a small little continuity error. It happens. It's okay.
I don't think so.
I think it'd be nice to think it wasn't. But
I understand that.
Plain from the first that it was a great ring. So he knows enough about great rings to know that obviously this is a great ring, and he didn't know where the other 90. He is wearing one of the 3. He knows this stuff.
1 second. Actually, I have this. Alas, no, but the couple pages later, I have it right here that he's talking about the enemy. He says, alas, though him the enemy has learned that the 1 has been found again. He knows where Isildur fell. He knows where Gollum found his ring. He knows that it is a great ring, for it gave long life. He knows that it's not one of the 3, for they have been lost, and they endure no evil. He knows that it's not one of the 7 or the 9, for they are accounted for. He knows that it is the 1. And he's talking about Sauron here.
Right. That is a part he says later. It's true. But Gandalf also knows what happened to the rings, is what I'm saying. Now, the one gap is, did he learn this recently or in the last 17 years, or did he already know it? But as considering he's one of his chief mission there is to, make sure Sauron doesn't rise again. He's wearing one of the three. He knows where the other two of the three are, and he knows it couldn't be one of the three. He knows that. He knows that the 9 are accounted for. I suppose it's possible he did not know for sure two things. Maybe he didn't know for sure yet what happened to all the 7, and he had to figure that out, because maybe it was one of the 7, right?
Yeah.
Especially since it was found in goblin caves where dwarves may have, okay, I could accept that. Or it's possible one could say he did not yet know for sure, for certain, that there were only 20. There could have been another 10 that he didn't know about. He's not the lore master of rings. Saruman is. That is true. He did not know about Isildur, where Isildur fell. He did not know all the lore. He had to go learn it. It's not his thing. But that's a stretch.
Yeah, it could be. He's already talking about, hey, Saruman's kind of sketch here. He's saying, something about his information isn't sitting right.
I'm just saying, a good editor should have caught this and said, hey, make this a little clearer. I'm just saying. Okay, where are we?
We're on... No! Cried Gandalf, springing to his feet. Because Frodo says, will you just take the ring? No.
You want this, dude? Take it.
No. Do not tempt me. For I do not wish to become like the Dark Lord himself. Yep.
I love that Frodo slips it back into his pocket subconsciously and can't even really contemplate. Can't even bring his hand.
Actually go ahead, pull it out to destroy it. Can't go ahead and give it to him.
And he at least should already know that fire's not going to do anything, and he still can't do it, which tells us what's going to happen. We know how it's going to go, Mount Doom. That is great foreshadowing. That is a great Chekhov's gun moment, that Frodo cannot throw the ring in the fire. Even now, he can't do it. And and Tolkien said in a letter, no one could have done that. No one could have thrown it in the fire. It would not have been possible.
What about Tom Bombadil?
It might have he just would have never gotten there. He would have just drifted off.
Like to see somebody try to stop him. And then we do have my favorite bit. Reaches to the window, pulls Sam in because he stopped clipping. They gasp, Mr. Frodo has to go away. Love it. And that takes us to 3 is company. Come and knock on our door. We've been waiting for you. Gandalf tells him, hey, better get going. Better run along. How long are you going to wait?
Gandalf stays in the Shire for 2 months.
Yeah, right?
Another 2 months.
After this information, they're hot on your trail. Let me just live with you for a little while. I'm just going to crash on your couch.
And also, maybe don't do it too quickly. Take your time about this. So different than the movie.
I do absolutely hate that he ends up selling Bag End to the Saxon Bagginses. I hate it. Doesn't matter. That feels wrong.
It is unquestionably so sad.
Something that we haven't talked about yet, because that'll be over in Game of Thrones, but it's the same thing when they take ice and melt it down. It's disrespect on a level that is unacceptable.
Bag End is a character.
Yeah. And so to go ahead and give it to the vile people. The Sauron of the Shire. But yeah, no. I love how they do eat dinner, though, for their last night, because at midnight she gets it, and they leave a pile of dishes in the sink, haha, screw you. Love that. And then they go walking. A bit
of walking.
I do love how Frodo has his moment too, where he looks ever yonder. Do elves live in these woods? Yes. Not that I've heard, said Pippin. Frodo was silent. He too was gazing eastward along the road, as if he had never seen it before. Suddenly, he spoke aloud, but as if to himself, saying slowly, "The road goes ever on and on, down from the door where it began. Now far ahead the road has gone, and I must follow if I can, pursuing weary feet until it joins some larger way, where many paths and errands meet. And whither then, I cannot say." Sounds like a bit of a Bilbo's own rhyming.
Isn't this? I just find this chapter the most interesting of the three. I mean, my favorite is the Gandalf and Frodo talking, about the ring.
Absolutely.
But this is the pacing of this, like the concern of like I have to leave the Shire the right way or people will talk. It's such a conservative British sort of 1940, like 1930s kind of mindset of like, well, we don't want to raise a fuss, do we? Like,
Yep.
because that will be more suspicious, and then people will be real. They'll talk, and then with the talk, it'll be heard, and then the spies of Sauron will find us. And it's probably completely true that we. That's why it's so important to set us up in that first chapter. The way the hobbits are all gossiping
Yeah.
really sets us up for the explanation of why this is so critical to do this the right way, because Gandalf knows the hobbits will gossip, and the gossip will reach ears of people it shouldn't, and it will make people look where they wouldn't look otherwise. And it will,
Yeah.
and because this is just a very, it's established in the Hobbit. Like, we don't want adventure here. Like, anything out of the ordinary is really frowned upon in this culture. It's actually something we don't. The Hobbit, we see people, oh, it would be so nice to live in the Shire. Really? Because you are a little bit different. They're gonna drum you out. Like, they're deeply. They don't like different there.
Yeah. Yeah. But at the same time, there's a lot more different characters than they let on. When they talk about all those tooks, and then
They're not in Hobbiton though. They're
that's true.
different part of the Shire. Shire's large.
That's fair. That's fair. So you want to be on that side of the Shire.
Yeah,
Where
no,
they,
you do. The hobbits of Hobbiton are a little bit snooty.
so we also have after that the first ring wraith goes crawling out, not crawling, riding by them, and then just ends up riding on. And then later on, we get the crawling. Bakshi, I recall, combined this scene together.
Yeah.
And that drives me crazy because then you don't get the elves. You
The
don't
funny
get the
thing
elves.
is, it's so very clear that Jackson borrowed the Bakshi scene, the stylistically, that it's very similar, because it's that both, and it's unsurprising when you consider that Saul Zentz produced both of them. Saul Zentz was a producer of both Jackson and Bakshi's versions, and so you see a lot of little things come up. It's a thing that Bakshi's actually super bitter about. He's spoken about it at length about how they just stole scenes from him. You know, you're both adapting material, but the stylistic choices made were very Jack. I would agree that Jackson borrowed bits as nods, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's a nice touch, personally.
I do too. There's also like even with the Rankin Bass, Hobbit, and Return of the King, even though those are our most like staunchly different versions, there is still this general vibe. I think that's the word I'll go for. All the kids use it. There is a vibe that still rings true because it's all based on this same dang book. So yeah, we get elves.
Yeah, we get elves. We get elves and a wraith so early on Frodo hasn't even moved into his new house yet.
No.
He's still playing he's still playing the shell game. And there's already a ring wraith there, and it's like, all right, let's go act like I'm still moving into a house.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. I think it absolutely works wonderfully here.
Yeah. And Gildor going ahead. I call you elf friend, and before we leave tomorrow, I will speak. I will send messages through my channels, and you will be known this way throughout your travels. I like that. I love it. It's also good to go ahead and have Sam meet elves already, just to kind of get it over with.
Yep.
Because it helps to soften how stupid Bocce made Sam later.
Elves, Mr. Frodo, elves.
But yeah, we also didn't talk about the fact that Gandalf was supposed to be showing up, and he's gone. He's like,
and
I will be back.
It's concerning to everyone. Everyone is concerned. Where is Gandalf?
It's freaking Gandalf. What if he's saying that he should be somewhere? He should be there.
Gildor was silent for a moment. I do not like this news, he said at last. That Gandalf should be late does not bode well. But it is said, do not meddle in the affairs of wizards, for they are subtle and quick to anger. The choice is yours to go or wait. Love that. I mean, because it's instantly, Gildor was silent for a moment, tells you everything. It's like, he's basically saying, oh shit, okay. Gandalf
oh crap, this happened. And yeah, after that, he tells him he gives a piece of advice because Frodo is trying to get some and it's also said that elves do not ask elves advice because they will tell you yes and no. Do they really say that? Gildor seems amused.
I just thought of something interesting to jump a little forward all the way to Weathertop. It's interesting when Frodo faces, because here we have a paragraph. It is not enough to know that they are servants of the enemy, answered Gildor. Flee them. Speak no words to them. They are deadly. Ask no more of me, but my heart forebodes, ere all things is ended, that you, Frodo, son of Drogo, will know more of these fell things than Gildor and Glorian. May Elbereth protect you. Well, and he does on Weathertop. He faces them, and what does he shout? He shouts Elbereth and strikes and almost hits with an enchanted blade, and which could have really done some damage. But the word, just shouting Elbereth, did more to drive the ring wraiths back than the threat of the blade. And so while Gildor saying, like, you are elf friend, may Elbereth protect you, we see that manifest when he says, you will know more of these things than I do. And we see that's all true. It's just great foreshadowing. He's telling us what's going to happen, and it does. It is so masterfully played out here.
Yeah. And then they fall asleep. And that's the end of our chapter.
That's the end. That's the end of the book. That's weird how Tolkien ended it there. We just read
the end of the chapter.
No. We're done. We're done.
We're done. We're never going to speak about it again.
Yeah. And thus the ring quest
sets up so many interesting things. I can't believe it ended there.
No, there will be more. There will be more.
There will
in a few weeks.
That's right. When we come back in 2 weeks, we'll be talking about the next set of chapters for A Game of Thrones, and then the following week. Wait, let me make sure.
Yeah, let's check our calendars.
December, Wednesday, the 10th, the 17th.
Both those are good for me.
Yes. So the 10th, we'll be talking about Game of Thrones. 17th, Fellowship of the Ring. And we'll take off probably for Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
Probably, yeah. We'll be off for a couple weeks.
Yeah, but then the 7th of the new year.
And we'll return with more.
Yes. But until then, thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all 0 of you out there. And we'll be back. Bye-bye.